Matt Lenihan for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store. Been joined by Joe Gallagher. Joe, I appreciate you giving us some of your time. How's things, buddy? I know you're a busy man.
Yeah, no, like I say, we're in the middle of a really busy run at the moment. So we're preparing Josh Holmes for his 10-round fight on Saturday night in Oldham. Obviously, we're coming off a good win with Billy Dennis last week in Oldham. Weekend before, Lawrence Okolie becoming a two-weight world champion. And like I say, we move on to the weekend after next, where we have Macaulay McGowan for European title and Mikey Talon on the Friday night on Channel 5, Wasserman Show. Saturday night, Jack Massey. You're another European title fight, and then after that, Clark Smith on the Channel 5 Wasserman Show as well. So yeah, the gym's busy. Everyone's got dates, and yeah, it's a good atmosphere. Everyone's got their heads down and concentrating on the fights.
Exciting times for you and your gym, and like you mentioned there, I wrote down here about sort of the busy schedule and the opportunities for your fighters. I remember speaking to you and Lawrence before you made that trip to Poland, and obviously it's a first fight under yourself, and you were saying, he has to go over there with that, seek and destroy mentality, really go in there, stick it on someone in their own backyard in order to rip it away. How pleased were you, because I know we haven't caught up, were you with his performance, how he handled the occasion, and that he became a two-weight world champion?
Mixed emotions, to be honest. One, I was really pleased for Lawrence that he became a two-weight world champion and the manner that he finished him. Other, frustrated that he didn't let shots go earlier than he should have done. Do you know what I mean? There was opportunities to let certain shots go and he didn't. I was happy with the finish. And thirdly, I was pleased that he went out there and did what I wanted him to do. We had sat down earlier in the morning, made him watch Hearns and Duran, and said, "This is what I need from you tonight. I need you to go out there. You're a bigger man. You have to go out there, get behind that jab, and be nasty and spiteful." That's what we was working on all camp. And he went in there and the manner, in the way that he set about his work and finished the job. I was really happy. Still a little bit annoyed because there's still so much for him to show everyone that we worked on, but that's always the case, isn't it? And I'm sure another fight later down the road. But yeah, listen, the old adage saying don't get paid for overtime. And I'd said all week to Lawrence, listen, I'm not putting pressure on you, but I am going to tell people we're coming to knock you out because I think you can knock him out and earlier. And we did in round one. And then someone said to me afterwards, he was 18-1 for round one, and I don't bet or anything else. Like, wow, that was just, in my mind, so obvious what was going to happen for Lawrence round 1 or 2. I was absolutely knew that was going to happen. His form and training, his sparring. What surprised me most in the ring afterwards was how much he hated me in camp. I thought he was enjoying it. But like you say, you've got to put it through, and he just got on with it and did what I asked of him.
And it was a complete culture change, and from where he's trained before to come across, Moss Side Champs Camp, get himself involved in a different environment. So I'm assuming means it with all intent and respect and purposes and whatever. I've seen him since. I've seen him in a few interviews mention the likes of Usyk, but also how excited are you as a trainer at the prospect of moving him up, through to the likes of heavyweight and really getting him in the mix with all these boys here, especially with this newfound, not new style, but when you're trying to tweak him and get the best out of him.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it. I just think it's a progression. I think he's got everyone excited again. It was a spectacular performance, 3 knockdowns against somebody that had been past 4 rounds, and people were saying he was an animal when he destroyed Babic, and now we're saying he's old and over the hill when Lawrence Okolie destroys him, but you can't win. But I'd like to see him have another fight. I've said I'd like to see him in a unification fight at that weight, get another belt, and for him to grow and give himself body now to grow and develop and be strong. You look at, say, Joseph Parker from where he's come from his fights with Fury, Joshua, Joyce, now to be going on to a good run of form and growing and strong and been fighting regular. I think that's what I need Lawrence to do. And listen, if opportunity comes, I'm sure he'll take it. But I'd really like to have him another fight, a defence of the belt or a unification. But money talks, as they say, and if there's a phone call from Saudi and they want him to step in with these heavyweights, then it's something we'll have to sit down and discuss. But I still think he's work in progress. It's not the finished article. I do feel he is a threat to some of the heavyweight fighters out there at the moment. I'm not got to turn around and say we've got to be world heavyweight champion, beat Fury, Usyk, Joshua, and all that. His work in motion, and there's a good crop that's just underneath there. That are coming through, like I said, Joseph Parker, Daniel Dubois have doing really good. Do you know what I mean? There's the German kid, a rate really high. He just stopped Sanchez with a body shot, body punching. There's some really good fighters there underneath, and you've got to make sure. I say it's a good mix to be amongst, and exciting times ahead.
100%. Look, I want to ask you about obviously the 5v5 and the sort of the big talking points that came for it. Great concept. I feel like two promotional companies going at it and obviously working together. In terms of the fights, though, Daniel Dubois, Filip Hrgovic. A lot of people. We've seen the sort of the ups and the downs of Daniel over the last few years, and he's got a terrific win over Big Baby Miller. And then in the first couple of rounds against Hrgovic, he was getting hit quite regularly. Then he managed to flip it round. What did you make of Daniel getting the victory over Filip?
I just thought Daniel was the star man on the night. I thought from like you say, his career and from where he was with Joyce and the jaw, and to be put back into it. And people forget he's only the age of 26. So when he fought Joyce, he must have been 23, 24. And as everyone says, heavyweights don't mature to move on. But I think he showed that he's on a good run of form now. He beat, like I say, Miller. And when we was in over there in Saudi, Tyson's gym, and he was in there and he was training with Don Charles and that, you could sense the people around him and that they were back and they had a point to prove, and Daniel had a point to prove, and he got the win. And then now going into the Hrgovic, it wasn't a case of you had that win and we'll give you an easy job. He's gone on to now fight Hrgovic, and Hrgovic was a big puncher. And like you say, he got caught a few times early on, but the doggedness, his fitness was great, and his work tempo was second to none. Obviously, they brought Kieran Farrell into the mix there now. He's doing some pad work. Don Charles has done a very good job with him over the years as well. And it just seemed to gel for the right fight on the right night. Now, obviously, Daniel Dubois, his name's been mentioned for the big fight with Joshua, and he's on a good run of form. So it's and he's still only 26. He's I thought he was the star of the night, Daniel Dubois.
It's mad when you think of 18 to 20 months ago. If we'd have been talking about Dubois, Joshua, everyone would have been sort of, don't want to say too negative on it, because big men, anything can happen. But now, because of this sort of turning form, and obviously Anthony Joshua's turning form with Ben Davison, this is a big fight. What do you make of it, Dubois and Joshua? Interesting.
Yeah, it is. I think obviously Anthony Joshua is with Ben Davison now. They've had one or two fights together. So he's learning, and Ben will be making adjustments with him there. And then obviously Daniel Dubois, who's on a really good run of form. So both fighters are coming into this on a good run of form. They're both fighters with good form, good momentum behind them. And it'll be a good British fight showdown. And it's, listen, whether it's Daniel Dubois' interim world title or whatever, I'm sure Team Joshua would most probably want it for a world title to be called three-time world champion. Obviously, they can't be shouting that about when it's an interim. Obviously, the belts are all held up for the rematch Fury Usyk in December, but it's still a good fight regardless what belt's on the line, and whoever wins that would be deserving of becoming a world champion after it.
We saw the defeat to Deontay Wilder out there as well. Big Bang Zhang returning after defeat to Joseph Parker, much like Deontay was, and he did a number on Deontay. I think a lot of people are saying this looks like the end. And look, he's the fighter. We can never speak for him, but speaking to Spencer Fearon, and he was saying, you leave a piece of you in when you have a piece of you in certain fights, when you have them back and forth with your likes of Tyson Fury, and it just didn't look like it was maybe the same fearful Deontay Wilder. Do you concur with that sort of analysis?
Yeah, I think so. But what you could see was quite evident in the fight. There was a size difference. It was huge. Zhang was just like a lion where he paws around with his cubs. He was absolutely huge in there. And I've seen, talking about Joseph again, Parker, we've seen how he did it. He kept Zhang, kept him out. He got caught himself early on when he fought. I think he got dropped. But he paced himself to give it strong down the stretch. Deontay Wilder had his work cut out because he wasn't fearful of him coming through. He was off balance an awful lot. And Deontay, obviously, after getting beat a couple of times and knocked out, has most probably gone, I wouldn't say gun shy, but most probably it could be a little bit of that, and didn't want to really engage. And then when he did engage a little bit, he obviously he got caught and turned and got laid out. But Zhang, I should say, is a good fighter, and I'd still love to see him in the mix with a Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. I know they fought in the Olympics and that, but I do feel he's a credible opponent. He's a good fighter for 6-7 rounds, and it'd be interesting to see how them boys did against him.
Yeah, he's a lot of good fun as well. You can see, and him and Dubois, sort of, I think the last 2 or 3 fights, you see him more on the camera saying certain things, and more endearing. Zhang's a really good guy. I hope he gets another big fight. I really do.
Yeah, and like I say, he's got personality. I think the fight before last, he came to the ring with the big Elvis costumes on, a bit like Tyson does with his big ring walks and everything else. And you see him in the press conferences. Like you say, you cannot feel pulled towards him and like the guy. Do you know what I mean? And it'd be great to see him get an opportunity against Fury, Usyk, Joshua, any of them boys for a world title.
It looks like we're heading for Usyk-Fury 2, December 21st, I believe I've read. After seeing the first fight, what do you make of this rematch? Enough in that way you look and go, if Tyson changes it up, he's more than in with a chance of reversing his fortunes.
It can do, but I don't think Oleksandr Usyk could be the same fighter either. I think that's what's made Usyk such a good fighter. He has a different set of tools for each job, and he'll go away and he'll understand. I've seen today now where Usyk's been talking about the uppercut. He really felt the uppercut, and he was saying, "Please God, let me get through this," and he did. So Tyson, to hear that, knows that it did hurt him, and he had him there. And I thought Tyson Fury did very well. I thought Usyk started off brilliant. It wasn't a case that he was reaching for his head. He was just touching his body, letting him know I can hit you and hit you and hit you. But then after the first 2 rounds, I thought Tyson came back and he was 4-2 up. And then thought he was on it. He battled hard to keep in the fight from early on, claw back the rounds, get in front. But then maybe a little bit of switch off and playing up a little bit, caught by a silly shot, then brought the disarray of the nosebleed and everything else. And you just think, there's a moment there where I remember it on TV and he had him and the commentator said, "Oh, Tyson, he was got to go for it, but he didn't. He's got to wait his time." And sometimes when you've got a man hurt like Usyk, you should go and finish him. And maybe he might regret that, he might not. But like you say, the rematch will be a good fight again. It'll be a good tactical battle. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Tyson Fury's team, how he approaches that. There's been lots of talk of the corner work. And there's people that's passionate in the corner. One's his dad shouting best advice, the other's Sugar Hill, and then obviously you've got Andy Lee, who's well respected and a good coach. So they're all trying to will Tyson to win, and everyone's emotions on the night. And you see that sometimes in football matches, there'll be Pep and maybe his assistant, or Klopp or his assistant, or Fergie or Brian Kidd. You just can't help be involved when you're so close and it's all lined out round. So yeah, maybe things will be addressed about that future down the line, but we're all looking forward to it. It'll be a huge night and a huge fight.
Yeah, we've often seen the voices, I think, when Tyson's been winning, and it's like, well, they've always had quite a vocal corner, I feel, anyway, obviously with Sugar Hill, and like you said, I know his dad was involved, but Andy Lee, they all sort of get involved. So I think it's one of them. A lot will be made of it, but ultimately 2 world-class operators, and I'm really looking forward to the rematch. Natasha Jonas, do we have anything in the pipeline? Any news pending regarding Tash?
A 40th birthday is around 10 days' time, 12 days' time, something like that. So that's what's pending at the moment. I think that's what we're all getting geared up. Tasha's 40th celebrations. Yeah, no, there's possible talks of her fighting Michaela Meyer in the summer, from what I've been told by Tash, but certain people couldn't reach an agreement with that. And that's it now. So obviously, I don't think Natasha will be out now till August, September time now. She's got to enjoy the summer. She's really disappointed, though. She really wanted to be out. She said at the beginning of the year, June, when she won in January, she wanted to be out May, June time, and then out September, October, November, more in the fall, and that's her done for the year. So, listen, inactivity at her age isn't a great thing, neither. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, that's it. We'll just have to sit and wait. But like you say, Katie Taylor's fight now with thing hasn't happened, and maybe that'll could happen. Obviously, the Michaela Meyer, that's the fight that's still there. So yeah, this fight's there still for Natasha, but it's just getting the TV dates. Obviously, the summertime it's got to be tough now. Obviously, we've got the Euros, we've got the Olympics, so just might have to wait now till the back end of August, early September.
Let's finish on this. Macaulay McGowan. He's had an interesting old career. I was there in France when he was robbed blind in front of everyone. He had a great fight against Tyler Denny. A lot of people thought he won that. He's getting a huge opportunity against Abbas Barrow on a good platform with Wasserman. I'll be there in person for it. Really looking forward to it. How pleased are you that Macaulay's got this opportunity, and it's not just any opportunity. It's one where this really, if he manages to pull this off, shoots him up big time.
Yeah, I think Macaulay's he's done really well over the last 12, 18 months. He's obviously settled down. He's had some wins. He's fought in some small hall shows. I've just told him, listen, all you've got to do is just keep fighting and keep busy and keep active. And he's fought some good journeymen, stopped some good journeymen. And then, like I say, the fight in Paris and the fight with Tyler Denner, it was very close, a point either way. And I thought it was worthy of a rematch, but no one wanted to give Macaulay the rematch. And that was at middleweight for that. And now he's the European middleweight champion. Now he's got a shot at the super welterweight, or the old-fashioned light middleweight European champion. And I've said to Macaulay, I said that you've been in some good fighters, but this is your time now and your opportunity. We're against a very good operator. I think he was an Olympic and a world medalist. And you've seen his fight with Sam Egginton, and he's only lost to Jack Kulkai. He's a real top operator. But it's an opportunity for Macaulay McGowan. It's in Bolton. It's only down the road from his hometown of Wythenshawe in Manchester. And you've got to take these opportunities. And like I said to Macaulay in the gymnasium, you wake up Saturday morning, you've got to be Macaulay McGowan, European champion, or you'll be Macaulay European title challenger. You have some credibility in the sport of boxing at long last from what you've done and what you've achieved and the hard work. Macaulay McGowan yesterday, his sponsor came and seen him yesterday. Macaulay had eight hard rounds, was it 8 or 10 rounds, hard round sparring yesterday, done his training, left at 11:30, 12 and was on the building site. Then he was back on the Charlton Arena, then at 7 o'clock at night doing his sprints last night, 7:30. So that's it for Macaulay. And he's fighting for European title, but he's still got to do it. He's in work today on the building site today, grafting away. And then he'll be back on Friday. And that's like a lot of pros. So like I said to him, you are like a Rocky. You've got an opportunity out of nowhere and you've had it before. And hopefully it's third time lucky. But it's a huge ask. He's a very good fighter, Abbas. So we've just got to go in there and give it his best, and that's all he can do. And what'll be, will be.
100%. Well, look, we wish you all the best. Like I said, I'll be there. I'll be there for that next week. I'm looking forward to it. It's a good show. It's got some good, really good fighters on it. But look, I thank you for giving us some of your time. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Hopefully, we can catch up soon when there's some more news on some of your fighters as well. Big fights.
Yeah. Are you at Crystal Palace tonight after?
I am, as it stands.
Right, okay. Well, Jack Massey, Isaac Chamberlain's got to be a tasty fight as well.
And that's, by the way, that before we finish, let's finish on that. That's the more dangerous fight in many people's eyes than Isaac's original fight, Jack Massey.
Well, I think so. When the fight was put to us, I was just a little bit annoyed that we weren't going to, and this isn't making excuses, weren't going to get the length of a camp to prepare properly to an extent like I have with Lawrence Okolie and everything else, but he's got an opportunity with Isaac Chamberlain. Chamberlain was already training for a fight for everything else, and we're going to try and do the best that we can do in the short time notice that we've had this fight. I thought they would have rescheduled it and made it a standalone fight itself on another card in August or September and build it up proper, but it is what it is. And Jack's training well. He's had good sparring with Okolie and Babic and all them boys in camp. And so it's got to be an exciting night down there. It's a huge platform for him on Sky and a chance to go into somebody else's back garden and get the win.
How buzzing will you be if you manage to pull that double off Macaulay night 1 and Jack night 2? That'd be an incredible 2 days for you, won't it? Be honest.
Yeah, I'm sure it will, but it'd be more. It's more so what it is for Macaulay and Jack Massey. Do you know what I mean? I don't think Jack Massey really has been given any credit or anything when you look at his performance with Joseph Parker and how he's gone on. And I think Macaulay McGowan, everyone's always just thought of him as this laughing, joking type of kid, but he's improved an awful lot. He's knuckled down, and like I say to you, for a man that goes out and does what he does every day in the gym and on a building site, I think it'd be a great story for him, his family, and his kids. So what's all to do with two of them? To do with me, we've had big nights in the past, and it's about these two kids first and foremost.
100%. Well, look, we'll be there. So, Joe, we'll catch up on fight week, and yeah, wish you all the best.
Cheers. All right, no problem. Thanks. See you later.